Today I wanted to share the 5 steps that I like to use to set intentions, and I'm gonna do that by taking you along with me as I set some new intentions for myself for 2022, and they're going to be in the area of creativity. So the reason why I walked into this room is I want to show you the bottom drawer of my dresser right here. Okay, here's the dresser, and the bottom drawer, wait for it, is filled with art journals like sketchbooks and stuff like that. Some of them I have done drawings in. This one, what the theme was all kind of abstract drawings, or just kind of like I would draw a few lines and then just kind of let my imagination take over. And others are sketchbooks like this one that I've had for probably 4 or 5 years and have never opened. Okay, so why did I share that bottom drawer with you? Basically because I feel like it's a good representation of why I want to set creativity intentions, because I've been really interested in visual art for a really long time, since I was a little kid. And I have phases where I've kind of gone in and out of actually making art, and I would really love to get more consistent. And that's like one piece of what I want to focus on with my creativity intentions that I'm setting today. So that's kind of like the setup or the backstory, or kind of like what's inspiring it. The first step of my 5-step intention setting process is check your vibe. And what I mean by that is basically make sure you're in the right headspace for the task of setting intentions, because it's a dialogue between your mind and your heart and your intuition. And ideally, intentions are something that you want to be inspired with, that you want to use less of your analytical mind and more of your higher mind, your soul, your spirit, your higher self, and really receive the idea that's right for you right now to manifest, that resonates with you, and that kind of has like your higher self's stamp of approval. And I don't mean that from a way of like your higher self is kind of the boss of you and should decide what you want to manifest. I mean more from the sense of like what Abraham teaches, where we have this vortex where it's kind of like our higher self. Oops, I've got a alarm going off on my watch. We're having some acai for dinner, so I need to go downstairs and take it out of the freezer, but I will do that in a moment. Anyway, back to what I was talking about with your higher self. So like with Abraham's concept of the vortex, it's like everything that you, and I talked about this in another video, which maybe I'll link down below for a fuller explanation. But basically the idea is that our higher self, or the source part of us, is with us all the time and kind of listening or paying attention to our preferences and whether or not we vocalize what we want to manifest. It's keeping track of what we have through life experience decided that we want, and all of those desires and preferences and conclusions that we come to are kept and known and combined even into this vortex, like this potential of what we could manifest that is kind of the highest and best and most enjoyable outcome that we've created, but that our higher self is aware of and keeping track of. And so I think when you're setting intentions, ideally you want to be in the place where you can receive that vision from the vortex, which you've created through life experience of what would be the most ideal, the most enjoyable next step for you. And so that's what you want to keep in mind when you're setting intentions, I think, and that's what I'm going to try to keep in mind, because I'm about to create a first draft of my intentions. That's step 2, is create your first draft of your intentions, because in my experience it takes kind of a few tries or a few drafts before you really land on the intention that you can really stick with for a while. So yeah, but in order to create that first draft, you want to be in the receptive mode. You want to be in a good feeling vibration, and you also want to be less trying to kind of conceptualize or like be analytical and kind of think through your intentions, and more just like feel into them and receive them from your higher mind or from that vortex as best you can. So that is what I'm going to do my best to do. gathered my supplies I'm going to use to create the first draft of my intentions. I'm going to use some colored markers and giant piece of this paper right here and just start to collect my first draft ideas for my intentions. Just kind of write them down here, use colors to help organize things and kind of make it more fun and playful. Okay, so here is my first draft. This was definitely a big brain dump of just whatever came to mind around this topic of creativity intentions, but this was really good. This got the ideas flowing, and this will suffice for a first draft of my intention. So now that I've got these intentions defined, my next step 3 of my intention setting process is to let it marinate. And basically that means to give my intention some time. I really find that after I create the first draft of an intention, that just kind of gets the process started, that gets me focused on what I want, and it sends out a request to the universe that this is an area of my life that I want to get clear on, my creativity. And so in the few days or so that follow creating a first draft of an intention, I always find that I naturally start getting a lot of different ideas about things I want to add to the intention or ways that I want to tweak it. And also sometimes experiences manifest too that give me more clarity on the intention. So I always like to give a little bit of time for the intention to marinate before I finalize it and really commit to manifesting it. Step number 4 of my intention setting process is to tweak as inspired. And so the way that I did this, or first of all, what that means, tweak as inspired, is basically as new ideas come to you about your intention while you're letting it marinate. Usually I find that inspiration comes to me best when I'm doing something that doesn't take a lot of mental focus, it's kind of repetitive, like walking or cleaning or driving, sometimes in the shower. These ideas will just come to me around my intention, around what I've asked the universe for clarity about. And so what I like to do is collect those ideas, collect those inspirations and insights around my intention just in a simple little note on my phone. And so I just kind of collect these throughout the day, and just at the end of kind of that process of collecting them, that's when I will make the tweaks to my intention. And so basically I just kind of create it all in a Word document on the computer, or I use Google Docs, but just kind of write it out and add in the tweaks that I've collected over the past few days and create my tweaks to my intention statement. And as I'm making the tweaks, I'm not really thinking too much about making it perfect. That's kind of the next step, is where you finalize it, but I'm just kind of adding in as inspired all the tweaks that I've collected and just kind of gathering it all together. Okay, so here's what I ended up with for the final draft of my intention. And I say final draft, but of course an intention is something that you could always tweak and update as you receive more inspiration around it. But I'm feeling pretty good about this one right now. I kind of divided my intention. I called it Next Level Creativity. It was the name that felt good to me, or the title for it. And I kind of divided it into these different categories of what was important to me. So I had integrity and alignment, learning and self-development, clear, authentic, distinctive style, alignment and contribution. I love alignment. It's one of my favorite words. Productive and engaged in community, and abundant. Yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed coming along with me as I've been setting these creativity intentions over the past week, and that perhaps it has inspired you to set some intentions for yourself as well. If that's something that you are also in the process of, I'd love to hear about it. Definitely let me know what kind of intentions you're feeling most inspired to set for 2023 in the comments below. Also, I'd love to hear if you have some other favorite methods for setting intentions, perhaps what you like to do is different from my 5-step method, or maybe we do some things that are kind of similar. I'd love to hear about that as well. So definitely share in the comments about any of that as you feel inspired. And thanks again for watching this video and hanging out with me over the past week of intention setting. Until next time, happy manifesting.